it may look like there's a lot of concepts, actually the flow of thought, it's very simple. So once you understand how the thought flows in this entire series, then it's very easy to understand. All the rest are just all these names and concepts, just like the bangles and gold, all those examples that we saw. That is a very important concept in Vedanta. It's called mithya, like myth, the same, it has the same root. What it shows is that all these forms, beautiful forms, all that, it can just snatch our mind away. But in essence, it's just gold. So that's the underlying reality. So once we focus on the reality, there are all these offshoots that come from that, which will just fall in place. Okay. So with that, let's get started. And please stay after class and ask questions, and we will try to answer all of them. As usual, we would like to acknowledge Swami Paramarthananda Saraswati for the traditional rendering of Vedanta as it was done for over 1,000 years, starting with Adi Shankaracharya. We'll say a small prayer. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Partyantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Salutations to the lineage starting with Lord Sadashiva, with Adi Shankaracharya in the middle, and continuing up to our immediate teacher, Swami Paramarthananda Saraswati. With that, we will go to where we left off. Okay. So remember, yesterday, our last class, we talked about at the cosmic level, how all this, the universe was created and all the problems started happening. In this class, we will focus on ourselves, that is you, how your state, why you have this body, and the cause of all the troubles. Everything will be analyzed systematically by Adi Shankaracharya. So before that, I'll just go through the train of thought. I already sent the video. Please take a look at it, because it's important to understand this flow of thought. I will go over that again here. Now, we talked about, when we talk of light, we also have to talk of darkness, right? They go hand in hand. Here, when we talk of consciousness, we also have to talk of ignorance. This ignorance is given the term Maya. Consciousness is Brahman. It's just universal, all-pervading. And because of the veiling power, that is the hiding power, this one light, which is there everywhere, because of a shadow, it's seen as two, light and darkness. And the darkness itself can be variegated, can be seen as many when there are many shadows. And because of this delusion, this I, the Atma, project the world. So you are the consciousness in essence. You project the world. This is the superimposition one. This is by itself, it's harmless. And then what happens is that this is called Vikshepa Shakti, that is the projecting power. The same thing happens at our minds also. So in that video, I gave an example of two different countries which are next to each other. One country suspects, they don't know exactly what's going on. Oh, these people are going to attack. So they get deluded. And because of that, what do? They start deploying the military along the border. So the delusion creates activity, that is the projection, Vikshepa Shakti. The mind starts thinking all those things. So these two go in hand in hand. The delusion, Avarana Shakti, or the veiling power, and the Vikshepa Shakti, the projecting power. So after that, a lot of problems start happening. So this is how things escalate. And the whole problem is the ignorance. So then, this is at the cosmic level. Then at the individual level, the properties of the mind and the body are projected on I, the Atma, or you, the Atma. In your essence, you are the pure consciousness. But these properties are projected on the Atma, making me feel small and miserable. So we all feel small and miserable. This is the world, which includes the mind and the bodies projecting on us. And that is the cause of all problems. Now, from the cosmic level, we will go on into the individual level. So Shankaracharya is going to enumerate what are called the upadhis. So we saw the term upadhi. Upadhi is something which seems to give properties. It's called a conditioner. That which attributes property to something else is called a upadhi. A clear crystal and a flower, red flower. The crystal has no color, but because of the vicinity to the flower, the vicinity is very important. It seems to get the color of the flower. Similarly, we saw with the water also. There is, water by itself it's tasteless and colorless. You, the consciousness, are like that. But because the body is in close proximity to the consciousness, the properties of the body seem to be attributed to the Atma. So you think I, the person, am a woman or a man, and I am suffering, all that. It is the body. The body is inert. The mind is also inert. This consciousness seems to make the body come alive, and the confusion is that the body's properties seem to be imposed on me. So that's what's happening. Okay. So the upadhis. Now, Shankaracharya is going to talk about the various upadhis in the context of the Atma in the next 3 shlokas. So the 3 upadhis, these are the 3 layers of the body. The gross body or sthula shariram, and the subtle body, which includes the mind, the prana, the power of cognition behind the senses, all that is the sukshma shariram. Then finally, the causal body, when the entire world has resolved, okay, into the seed form at the end. So these cycles we talked about, this shrishti, then sthiti, and then everything resolves back. So these cycles, in the end of this, everything resolves into the seed form. That is called causal or seed, karana shariram. That's the cause of everything. So at the end, this is how it resolves. So we will look into this. Now, I told you there are 2 prakarana granthas, that is the fundamental texts, which are quite popular. There are many prakarana granthas. Here, one is Tattva Bodha. That's the one that's commonly read. It's in prose form. We've chosen Atma Bodha because of the poetry form, and also because it's written by Shankaracharya himself. Tattva Bodha was written by somebody else. So here you will see Shankaracharya's style in Atma Bodha. He starts with the universe, Atma, and then he goes into our causal body, subtle body, gross body, all that. In the Tattva Bodha, it's the other way. It starts with the physical body, the gross body, subtle body, causal body, then the Atma. So Shankaracharya has a different style. That's why we have to pay a little close attention to how it is. So our 3 bodies. So let me switch over to this slide deck. Okay. Now, Atma is the consciousness. That is the real you. Everything else is inert. Anatma means anything other than consciousness. It can be matter, energy, it can be subtle matter, it can be gross matter. Okay. The mind and other things are composed of subtle matter, the same matter in subtle form. So how do we classify an individual? We classify people as men and women, young, old, short, tall, etc., etc. We can classify an individual in like this in many different ways. Okay. Now, the way these yoga and all these classify the bodies is based on different layers, and there are many ways to classify it. One way to classify is as we have 3 bodies inside us. Shariratrayam, the 3 bodies. It is classification based on the raw material and also the duration. We'll see that each of these 3 bodies has different durations. So, and this is one way of classifying. Another way is as the 5 sheets, panchakosha. This is classification based on personality or quality, the physical, emotional, and all that. So there are different sheets. So the entire body is composed of 5 sheets. Then avastatrayam, based on the states of experiences. Okay, this body right now, the body is in this state of experience. It's classification based on the state of experience: waking, dream, deep sleep, etc. So Shariratrayam, the three bodies, Shankaracharya talks about the Sthula Shariram, which is the gross or the tangible body, all the physical body essentially, including our blood, bones, flesh, everything is called the Sthula Shariram. Then there is the Sukshma Shariram, which is the subtle body. This we'll see what it contains. It contains the mind, the five pranas, the five organs of cognition, the five sense organs, five actions of organs of action, and then the Karana Shariram, the causal body. This is a very mysterious concept. Okay, we will see that. Okay, so I said there are different ways to classify people: men, women, tall, young, short, old, young, like that. We saw one way of classification is the three bodies. This is based on the raw material. The gross body has visible, tangible raw material. The subtle body has intangible raw material, and the causal body is completely mysterious. We'll see what that is. Also, as the five sheets, and the five sheets are Annamaya Kosha. It's called physical body. It's called Annamaya, means it's from food. What you eat becomes this physical body. Then the Pranamaya Kosha, which is the pranic body consisting of the five pranas. Then Manomaya Kosha, that is the mind, the emotional body. Vijnanamaya Kosha, that is the intellectual body. So emotions, intellect, these are two different things. Manaha, as we saw, if you remember the analogy of the mind to the movie theater, we saw about the four parts of the mind. So it's good to go over this slide deck or the video for this. I also sent a playlist containing these supplementary videos. So the manas is the memory feelings which are distributed throughout the body. So that is the Manomaya Kosha. And then the Vijnanamaya Kosha is the intellectual body. And finally, there's very mysterious thing called Anandamaya Kosha. That is the bliss body. That is, you experience this in deep sleep. There's deep sleep, there's complete ignorance. That is why is it called a bliss body? Because ignorance is bliss. When you're completely unaware of everything, that is when you have the deepest bliss. Okay, so, and in fact, we'll also see this is the cause, the seed. As long as this ignorance is there, it causes samsara, future births, deaths. Once you get enlightened, this also goes away. Okay, now we'll see the durations of these bodies. Okay, and also our body is the same, so all these have to be equated. So when we talk of this Annamaya Kosha, the physical body, it's the same as Sthula Shariram, the gross body. So the gross body which we saw here, Sthula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram, Karana Shariram, they're one and the same. It's just different ways of classifying. Then the subtle body, Sukshma Shariram, consists of the pranic body, emotions, and the intellectual body. And the Karana Shariram, that is the cause, that is the seed form into which everything resolves. It still remains ignorant. That is called the bliss body. Okay. And then the three states of experience, that's another way of classifying. Okay. Now let's look at the topic here is our three bodies. The gross or the tangible body. So here it becomes very personal. It comes right down to you. Why did I get this body? It is called Sukha Dukkadi Bhogayatanam. It is an abode or an office for transactions, Sukham and Dukkham. The transactions you experience are happiness and sorrow with the world. Pleasurable, painful, and neutral experiences. Sukha Dukkadi Bhogayatanam. Bhoga means experience. Ayatana means abode. It is an abode for experiencing sukham, pleasure, or pleasing experiences, dukkham, sorrowful experiences. And this office that you hold, you can't just like that occupy an office. You have to pay rent. What is the rent that you pay? It is your previous janma, punyam and papam, meritorious and sinful um, fruits of the actions. So if you do a good deed, you get merit. That is the punyam. It adds to your karmic stockpile. If you do a bad deed, it is papam. It is sinful. It accumulates again to your karmic stockpile. This is, and the rent, it is called prarabdha karma. We'll see the karma has three aspects. Prarabdha karma is one which has started fructifying all the karma, the huge load from infinite lifetimes we've had. The one that has started fructifying is called prarabdha karma. Okay, so the rent you are paying, you are getting this body, this abode, this office for transactions where you do further transactions, accumulate karma. This is from your previous punyam and papam, meritorious and sinful experience, sinful deeds. That is the reason you have the body. So far, is it clear? Everybody's video is off, so I'm not getting any feedback, but so far clear. Okay, Amy, Lara, all right. So this is how it's beautifully experienced. Once the paid rent is over, office space is vacated. That's all this death is. It's not like a sorrowful, very terrible, tragic event. No. Once the prarabdha karma is over, that is, the rent is over, you vacate the office space, which means you leave this body. Office space for transactions is then created elsewhere. Karma janyam, that's why it said this body is brought about because of karma, based on rent paid by these and previous transactions. The cycle continues. Then comes the subtle body. Who vacates? Now the question will ask, your body falls off. This the gross body is gone. It goes with the elements, right? Bury, cremate, whatever happens, goes back to the nature. That's all. It is the shortest of all the three bodies. The shortest time span, 80, 100 years, max 120, whatever. It's very little. The subtle body consists of 17 elements, or you can say 19 elements if you include chitta and ahankara, the 5 pranas, the 5 organs of knowledge, shabda, sparsha, rupa, rasa, gandha. That is, shabda is hearing, sparsha is touch, rupa is form, that is visualization, sight, then rasaha is taste, gandha is smell. And the 5 organs of action, these are called karmendriyani. The organs of knowledge are called jnanendriyani. This is karmendriyani. Vak, pani, padam, payu, upastha. Vak, speech is an organ, that's the output. Pani, that is the hands, so whatever you do with your hands, padam, through locomotion, feet, payu, that is the excretory organ, anus, the power behind the excretion, then upastha, that's the power behind the reproduction, sexual organs. These are the 5 external organs. The mouth is speech, that is a powerful organ. You can wield the speech to do great things, or you can get into terrible problems with the speech. And the 4 or the 2 parts here, sometimes people use the 2 parts of the mind, sometimes for the sake of completion they include the 4 parts: mano, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. Okay, and where does the punyam and papam, so this is a very important point. The punyam and the papam, that is the merits and demerits, they cling to the subtle body, which is also inert. The subtle body, once we die, it leaves and finds another abode, another body to go to. They do not cling to you. So this is the important thing. This is like a cloth that you wear and throw away, the physical body. And then the subtle body is like an internal layer which kind of goes away. It's long lasting. It is from this creation of this universe all the way to dissolution. This subtle body lasts this long, or till you get enlightened. And it does not cling to you. This is the most important thing. you are thinking that I am small, I am a sinner, and all that. No, it looks, you are suffering because it looks like that, like the water. When you add some color, the water is tasteless and it is colorless. But when you add this, we saw this picture, when you add this color, it looks as though the water is colored and tasty. No, the water is still thing, but because of the close intermixing, Shankaracharya will use the words yogena. Yoga means union. Because it's close union, it looks as though you have attained these traits, but you are apart from this. The moment you realize that, the suffering is not personal anymore. Then comes the most mysterious of this, the causal body. Two of the most mysterious abstract entities in entire Vedanta. Number one is you, the Atma, the consciousness. And the second one is called the Karana Shariram. It is subtler than the subtle body. It is the causal body. It's a seed for the other two bodies. So when um, the entire universe has resolved, you think all the bad deeds that's done, they can go away? No, everything is stored in the seed form, like in the gene, that form, as the causal body. Then when again the next year cycle, the universe is created, big bang and all that, this, it sprouts from here and it takes on different forms. Okay, so the duration of the gross body is one lifetime. Duration of the subtle body is from Srishti to Pralaya, from creation to dissolution of the universe. And the duration of the causal body is ageless. It's dissolved only at moksha, when you attain liberation, enlightenment. The subtle body resolves into the causal body at Pralaya. At the dissolution, it just resolves. Okay. So the sthula shariram or gross body is perceptible to both us and others. How this is how you experience these three sharirams. The subtle body is not perceptible to others. Most people can't read your minds. Portions of it are available for perception by others. And the closest experience of the causal body is deep sleep. That's why it's called Anandamaya Kosha, because deep sleep is bliss, ignorance is bliss. They're all one and connected. All this refers to Maya in the closest form. Maya is complete ignorance. Okay. Karana Shariram is equal to ignorance. It exists because of ignorance. The reason for the cycle of births and deaths is because of ignorance. As long as there is ignorance, there is samsara. As long as there is Karana Shariram, there is samsara. So that is this. Only when ignorance is removed through knowledge, moksha occurs, liberation occurs. Similarly, dissolution of the Karana Sharira happens only at moksha. Both ignorance and Karana Sharira disappear. No more of this births and deaths. Ignorance is bliss, deep sleep is bliss, as I said. Similarly, the closest experience of the Karana Sharira is in deep sleep. And that's why Anandamaya Kosha, bliss body, is equivalent to the Karana Sharira, the causal body. They're all equal to ignorance. So this is the three bodies. I've given you in a nutshell what the three bodies are. Now, Shankaracharya is going to talk about each of them. First, the gross body. Okay. So far, is everything clear? Since I don't have a visual feedback, is everything clear so far? The three bodies? We'll go over them again here. Okay. All right. Gross body. Okay. Now let's go into the shloka. Panchikrita Mahabhuta Sambhavam Karma Sanchitam Shariram Sukha Dukkanam Bhogayatana Muchyate. Look, the words used are very, 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 very beautiful. It's just absolutely stunning words. So what Shankaracharya says here is, there are some technical terms that are used. Panchikritam, Panchikrita Mahabhuta means from the 5 gross elements made after Panchikrita, this gross body comes. So this process of the Panchikarana is called, it's called grossification. So initially there is only Brahman. So this is how we saw the universe was created. There was only consciousness. The ignorance was hidden. The Maya, or the ignorance, is hidden. Then there's what is called gunas. When there is sattva predominance, the 3 gunas we said, sattva, which is pure, light, intelligence, everything. Then rajoguna, which is activity, intensity, craving, desire. And then there is tamoguna, which is dullness. So these are the 3 gunas that are there. When sattva is dominant, everything is in the balanced state. Then when rajas starts coming up, more turbulence develops, and you have this vikshepa shakti, projection. And tamas also creates the problem because it hides, the shadows form. The entire universe is created at a cosmic mind. And from this, so in the process of creation, these subtle, there's what are called tanmatras, the 5 subtle elements, and the panchikrita refers to the process of grossification. From the subtle elements, these gross elements come. So we talked about the various Indian philosophies, right? The 6 philosophies. The one called Vaisheshika, or the metaphysics, is very close to our modern physics. It explains all these atoms. The word anu, it's from Vaisheshika, the smallest unit. Of course, they don't talk of iron, all these things. Anu is at the guna level. Then determined by an individual's past action and made up of the 5 elements through the process of grossification or panchikarana, this gross body is born. So it's determined by the individual's past actions. Remember, the rent paid is the past karma, good and bad karma. Panchikrita Mahabhuta Sambhavam Karma Sanchitam. It is from determined by the Sanchitam. This is from the past karma. So Sambhavam means this body has taken place because of one's past karma. And then Shariram Sukha Dukkhanam. This body, Sukha Dukkha Bhoga Ayatanam Uchate. It is the abode, the medium through which pleasure and pain are experienced. It is like an office space for transaction. The transactions are the pleasurable transactions, painful and neutral transactions. It is the medium through which the pleasure and pain is experienced, the tenement of bhoga ayatanam, the tenement of experiences. Okay, this is exactly what we saw earlier. Then this, once the prarabdha karma is over, we saw the physical body's term is also over. Okay, so these we covered, slides 11 and 12. Now the subtle body. So Shankaracharya defines this as Pancha Prana Mano Buddhihi Dashendriya Samanpitam Apanchikrita Bhutotam Sukshmangam Bhoga Sadhanam. Pancha Prana Mano Buddhi Dashendriya Samanvitam. Okay, Samanvitam means endowed with. So the subtle body is endowed with, we saw, the 5 pranas, the 10 organs, which means the 5 organs of action and the 5 sense organs. That's that. The 5 organs of actions we saw here. The 5 organs of knowledge, it's called Jnanendriyani, which we commonly refer to as the 5 sense organs. The 5 organs of actions, the speech, hands, excretion, reproduction, all that. Okay, so that is the Pancha Prana. Dashendra Indriya means sense organs. So even this organs of action, they are considered sense or karma indriyani, organs of sense organs of action, and manas and the intellect. I said sometimes people use two, sometimes people use all four parts of the mind. Mano, buddhi, chitta, ahankara. Here manas and intellect are used. The subtle body is formed from the rudimentary elements. Pancha prana mano buddhi dashendriya samanvitam apanchikrita bhutottam. Okay, apanchikrita means before the grossification, that is from the tanmatras. These are the subtle elements. Before the grossifications or the panchikarana, this subtle body is formed. And it is Sukshmangam Bhoga Sadhanam. Sadhana means it's an instrument. Bhoga Sadhana means it is an instrument of experience. So the physical body is the abode. It is the office space for experience. The subtle body, it is called, it's the instrument for experiencing all the sense organs, everything, and the prana, your mind, everything is for experiencing the world. Okay, so that is the subtle body. Now sukshmangam bhoga sadhanam, it's part, the subtle body is so it's the simile is instrument of experience. Now comes the mysterious causal body. So Shankaracharya defines this as anadividya nirvacha karanopadiruchyate upaditritayadanyam atmanamavadharayet. Anadya Vidya. Look at the beautiful. So I said Shankaracharya's style is very stunning. He calls it Anadi Avidya Anirvacha. Anadi means without a beginning. Adi means beginning. Anadi means without a beginning. So this ignorance is beginningless. What's what he says. Anadi Avidya. Avidya is ignorance. So it is beginningless and anirvachya, which it is indescribable. You cannot use words to describe how deep this ignorance is. Anadya Vidya Anirvacha, Avidya, which is indescribable and beginningless, is the causal body. Karano Upadi Uchate. So he calls all these as Upadis. Karana Upadi. Upadi is something which gives its properties to something else. So all these, he's just using the direct term. He's not saying parts of the body. He's just saying it is superimposing its properties on you. So he's calling it a upadi. Karana upadi uchate. It means it's said to be the causal body. Upadit upaditritayadanyam atmanamavadharayet. Upaditritayad anyam. Know for certain that other than these three is the Atma. Atma is certainly not these three. Even though it looks like it's giving all its properties to you, it is not you. These three are not you. So that's why this upadis is called a limiting adjunct, the technical term used in English. So English, it doesn't, direct English vocabulary is limited. So the term that is people use scientifically in Vedanta, it is called limiting adjunct. It is adjunct because it is not, it's very close, adjunct faculty, it's very close because of the vicinity. That's very important. It seems to give its limiting characteristics onto something which is much superior. So you, the infinite consciousness, it's giving its qualities to you and making it look small and limited. So avadharayet, atmanam avadharayet. One should ascertain, firmly realize that you are different. Atma, first, okay, one thing I have to say is till verse 31, Shankaracharya is going to use Atma, Atma, Atma. Then after that, he's going to say, once people are used to this, he'll say, Aham, I. So you substitute Atma with I. You own up to your higher consciousness. Okay. So this is also a verse, one of the few verses without a simile. So this Maya, this root ignorance, that is the causal body. Okay. Last time, I think Santosh asked this question. This Maya entity, is it just a concept, or is there um, a person or somebody behind that? Is that correct, Santosh? That's what you asked?
Yeah, whether it
Okay.
has some tattva to it, or whether it's
Okay.
just a concept.
Yes. So in Vedanta, how they describe God as, God is nothing but this Brahman and Maya together. Maya itself doesn't have any power. Brahman is the consciousness. Maya is, uh, Brahman uses the Maya to project the universe, and this universe, the projected form of Maya, along with Brahman, becomes Ishvara. That is God. So even God is this entire universe as a upadhi on Brahman becomes God. It is a conditioned Brahman. So we are conditioned by the body because of the closeness. The body mind seems to give the property to us. Similarly, God is this entire universe, the great universe. When that puts its, seems to give the properties to Brahman at a large scale, it is called God. Okay, all right. So next he's going to talk about the 5 sheets. Remember, we talked about the 5 sheets: the Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha. So, Shankar, I gave you, before that, I gave you a full picture, and then we will now go and see what Shankaracharya is talking about. 5 koshas, he says, all these are upadhis too. So upadhi is something, because of the vicinity, it's giving its property to something else, and the something else is you. So it's become very personal at this time. It's giving its properties to you and makes you feel small and limited. That's what Shankaracharya is saying. Panchakoshadi yogena tattanmayaiva stitaha shuddhatma nila vastradihi yogena spatiko yata. Panchakosha adi yogena. Yoga here means a closeness. Yoga means union. So here it means closeness. Due to the closeness with the 5 sheets, etc., Panchakosha adi means etc. Panchakosha is the 5 sheets. Tat tanmaya ivastitaha. The Shuddhatma, the immaculate Atma. Shuddham means pure, immaculate Atma. Tat tanmaya ivastitaha seems to appears as though it has borrowed their qualities upon itself. It Sitaha means it stands. It stands as though it's after borrowing the qualities upon itself. So the Atma is so, it's pure, but it looks as though it's borrowed the qualities from these panchakoshas onto itself. And the example given is Shuddhatma Neelavastradi Yogena Spatiko Yatha. Neela Vastram means a blue cloth, etc., like a blue cloth, etc., when placed next to a spatika. Spatika is a crystal, pure, colorless crystal. When you place it next to a cloth, it seems to look blue, or the color of the cloth. Neela Vastradi Yogena means due to the vicinity, due to the proximity to a blue cloth, a crystal appears blue. So due to closeness with the 5 sheets, etc., the immaculate Atma appears to have borrowed their qualities upon itself, as in the case of a crystal which appears blue due to the proximity to a blue cloth. Okay? Neela Vastradi Yogena Spatikoyata. So her crystal, the simile here is a crystal appearing blue when placed next to a blue cloth. So that's the simile. Now we are entering the important phase. We've seen all the problems. Now, verses 16 to 29, Shankaracharya is going to say, what is the solution to the superimposition? So, the superposition of all these things onto your true nature, he's going to say what the solution is. So, how is it going to affect all us? How it's going to benefit us? Slowly, little by little, we start seeing the big picture. If we feel that we are the body, we're suffering, we are limited, you suffer a lot, right? But when you see, okay, this is just a temporary thing in the long scheme of things, I actually am very pure. I know it's difficult for me to own up to my superior nature as the pure, blemishless Atma. Yes, I have to inhabit the subtle body, and once this body is gone, I'll take another body. Hopefully, I will progress along, and because of my knowledge, I will burn my karma stockpile, and my next life will become better. Slowly, I will get the understanding of my true nature. I am not even the subtle body, which goes from lifetime to lifetime into different body, into different physical bodies. I will one day know that I am this unlimited consciousness. Okay, so that is slow. So that's why Vedanta, they say, is a superpower. And Vedanta makes two grand promises: dukkha nivrittihi, paramananda praptihi. Dukkha nivrittihi, cessation of all suffering, and paramananda praptihi, obtaining the greatest bliss. Those two promises it gives. But slowly, as we reflect, we lose all this identification with the limitations because of this body. We can start progressing in that direction. Okay, so verses 16 to 29, it is talks about the nature of the jiva, the tvam in the Mahavakyam. So there are these Mahavakyams in the Upanishads. It says, Tat tvam asi, that thou art. What's it meaning? You, in your essential nature, you're nothing but that consciousness, like the wave and the ocean. Ocean looks so big and the wave is small. But what's the essential nature of both? Anybody wants to answer? What's the essential nature? So I don't know what's happening here. Okay, so the essential nature is no, the essential nature of wave and the ocean is nothing but water. So similarly, the essential nature of the you and the entire God or whatever is the unlimited consciousness. Okay. All right. So if you can hear me, just give a thumbs up. I don't know why suddenly this happened. Okay, wonderful. Sorry. Now let's go into this analysis. Vapustu shadibhik koshai yuktam yuktavaghatataha atmanam antaram shuddham vivincha tandulam yata. Through discriminative self-analysis and logical thinking, one should separate the pure self within from the sheaths such as the body, etc., as one separates rice from the husk brown that are covering it. Very beautiful analogy. So the way, so the paddy is rice with the covering, the husk, right? So how traditionally they used to do it in olden days is by pounding. So they pound till the husk, the cover comes out of the rice. So that's the analogy here. So through discriminative self-analysis, yuktam vivincha tandulam yata. So vivincha, means it comes from the root which means vicharam. It means to analyze, to examine closely. Vivincha vapuhu tushadibir koshai. So here it has to be written. Vapuhu here refers to the body. Tusha adibi koshai. So the body which belongs to the five koshas, the five sheets, that should be separated. Yuktam yuktavagartataha. So it has to be as by thrashing the rice in a mortar. Avagatataha means pounding, as by pounding. Yukti is discrimination. Yuktam is united. So yukti, yuktam avagatataha, through discriminative pounding, like in a mortar, one should separate the pure self from the sheets such as the body, etc., as one separates rice from husk, bran that are covering it. So that's the meaning of this verse. Vapuhu tusha adihi koshai. So all this body, etc., they belong to the various koshas. Okay. Then sada sarvagatopyatma na sarvatrava buddha vevava bhasetha swacheshu pratibhimbavat. The Atma, so this is another very, very, very important point. Now, we said the consciousness is all pervading. Okay, so let's say, assume you're in a dark room. I keep my fingers like this, right? So if everything is dark, in between the fingers, there'll be darkness. I don't have that picture here, but let me see if I can get that picture from a different slide deck. So the consciousness, if you're this question will come up. If the consciousness is there everywhere, then why is it not visible? So it's like this. It's light needs a medium for reflection. So this consciousness also, to be available for perception to others, it needs a medium. This medium is called a subtle body, the mind. And the mind cannot exist on its own. It needs an abode, an office space. And that office space is called the physical body. So there is this consciousness everywhere. It is all pervading. Yes, that is true, but it is not visible. The Atma does not shine on, it shines everywhere. It does not shine on everything, although it is all pervading. It is manifest only in the, here he uses intellect, buddhi, but he's referring to the subtle body, just as a reflection in a clean surface. You can't see a clear reflection in a dull surface. So just like a reflection in a clean surface, Atma also manifests only in the subtle body. Okay. Sada sarvagataha api Atma. Api means even though the Atma is sada sarvagataha, always all pervading, na sarvatra avabhasate. It does not shine everywhere and in everything. Na sarvatra, not everywhere does it shine. Buddhav eva avabhasate. It shines only in the intellect or the sukshma shariram. Swacheshu pratibhimbhavat. Swacham means clear, on a clear reflecting surface, like a clear lake or something. Only in swacheshu pratibhimbhavat. Pratibhimba means reflection or a reflected image. So reflection is evident only in a clean surface. Atma also manifests in the clear buddhi. So what is the corollary of this? The corollary of this is chitta shuddhi, that is cleanliness of the mind, is the most critical thing. And that is why we do yoga. Eventual goal of yoga is to make the mind smooth and calm without the vrittis, without the turbulences on the surface. So it clearly reflects us. That's why Patanjali's Sutta 3 says, Tada drashtu swarupe vastanam. When the chitta vritti sees, one clearly sees one's own true nature. Okay, right. So the important points in this shloka are the concept of pratibimba or chidabhasa is introduced. So pratibimbavat. So previously, if you see, pratibimbavat, it's a reflection in a clean surface. So a very important concept called chidabhasa is introduced. It is called the reflected consciousness. So you are the original consciousness. Now, this question we answered in the portion on the movie theater example. Okay, the movie theater example, we saw the original consciousness, and there is the reflecting medium, and then there is something called the reflected consciousness. Okay, why are people different? Why do we say some people are smart, some people not that smart? Some animal, we are saying humans are much smarter than the animals. Why is it? It's because of the reflecting medium. We humans have a better reflecting medium than animals. So the reflection on the screen is better. Like a movie theater, if you have an old dull screen, the picture quality is not good. Similarly, when our minds are made clean through yoga practice, then the reflection is much better. We understand our true nature much easier. So, and why is this concept of Chidabhasa? So that's also consciousness. Why is this concept introduced? Because it is used to explain the process of knowing. The Atma, the original consciousness, because of its definition, it is changeless. It cannot, Atma, it's like electricity. So the best example you can have of Atma is like the electricity. It illuminates, it just illuminates everything, but it is not the RAM or the memory where things are stored, right? Atma, it illuminates the RAM, it provides electricity so that things can be stored, but nothing is stored in the Atma. It just illuminates everything. It just like electricity. So the original consciousness, Atma, cannot know, because if it knows, it will change. Once you know something, so this, look at the logic here. Once you know something, you are not the same person. Do you agree? Yeah, everybody? Yes. Similarly, Atma, by definition, Atma cannot change. Atma is nirvikaraha, changeless. It is constant quantity. It's existing. The 5 properties of the Atma. Let's see. The 5 properties of the Atma. It is aprameyaha. It is avinashi, indestructible. It cannot be comprehended. It is all-pervading. It is changeless. And it is not a doer of actions. Okay? So that is the real you. Atma is nirvikaraha. And the mind, by definition, is inert. The mind, so subtle body has no power. The mind belongs to the subtle body. Mind cannot know, because it's like a machine, like a computer. Without electricity, it can't operate. It can't know anything. Once the electricity comes, oh, the memory starts getting stored, everything happens. This, therefore, the quantity that is introduced is, it's called pratibimba, or the reflected consciousness, to explain the process of learning. And Shankaracharya is going to talk in detail about this. The learning depends on both the mind and the original consciousness. That is why the all-pervading consciousness itself cannot know. And that is also the reason why you cannot, this question will again come up. If it is the same consciousness in all the beings, why is that I cannot know what you know? I cannot know what's in your head, what's in your mind. That is because your mind and other person's mind are different. It is the combination. Knowing happens at the intersection of consciousness and the mind. Think of consciousness like the electricity. Okay. So this is where the analogy to the movie theater. So the reflecting medium, the screen, is so the reflection there, that is the reflected consciousness. Or the images that are played is the reflection, right? The screen, that is where the knowing happens. This is the analogy to the movie theater. Okay. Now, the consciousness is likened to the electricity I saw. This Brahman, or the entire global consciousness, it is everywhere. It's like 115,000 volts in the transmission lines. Then it goes to the transformer, which changes into the 120 volts. Like that, all pervading consciousness reflects first on the mind, and then the mind seems to illuminate the five senses from the mind. So it's like a transformer from 115,000 volts to 120 volts. Then it goes through power lines, and finally we have this adapter which charges our device, little the phone, 5 volts or whatever. So, and finally the body seems to come alive. So it's a bunch of successive reflections. That is, so the consciousness is like this electricity, all pervading consciousness. When it falls on the mind, the right surface, it seems to, whole thing seems to glow. Then it gives consciousness to the senses from the mind, then the body. This is how the whole thing comes to operation. So, and the solution to the superimposition is by a process of discriminative analysis called Drik Drishya Viveka. So Shloka 16, rice and husk is discrimination. Now, separating the witness from the witnessed, if we go into Shloka 18. Dehendriya mano buddhihi prakritibhyo vilakshanam tadvritti sakshinam vidyat atmanam rajavatsada. Deha, Indriya, Mano, Buddhi, the body. Deha refers to the body. Indriya refers to the senses. Mana, mind. And Buddhi, intellect. Prakritibhyo vilakshanam constitute the matter. So even the mind is matter, inert matter. Tatvritti sakshinam vidyat atmanam Rajavatsala. Distinct from all this is the Atma, which is a witness to the mental modification. Tatvritti sakshinam vidyat. Vidyat means know that the vritti refers to all this modifications in the minds. The sakshi is the witness. The Atma is just a witness to the mental modifications. And it is always like a king. It's a very beautiful example. Electricity is the power. It just makes everything. In the presence of electricity, everything comes alive. Like that, the king, okay, the king doesn't do anything. The king just oversees. In the presence of the king, the subjects, everything, they work, they make sure things happen, right? So in the Upanishads also it says, from the fear of the Brahman, all the planets move, the sun shines, water flows, all that happens. Yeah, king just oversees. The king doesn't do anything, just sits there. Actual actions are done by the subjects. And this is the second meaning of Prakriti. Prakriti is helper or aiding instrument. Mind, senses are Raja Prakriti, helpers of the king. Atma is like the Raja, and the Sharira Prakritis are like the retinue. The essence of the shloka is that I am the essence of the three bodies. The senses belong to the subtle body, but I am the essence of all these three bodies. In this shloka, so the mind, intellect, body, all these are lumped, but the Karana Shariram is not used here because the Karana Shariram does not do any function. Here only the functioning parts of the Sharirams are considered. So with this, we shall stop the recording.